I downloaded every comment from my last dozen videos into a spreadsheet and skimmed through for patterns. Here are the top 5 most common questions. Number 1, why EF and not RF lenses on all of these tests? I've actually never used an RF lens on the C70. I thought, out of curiosity for this video, maybe it would be worth it to rent an RF lens for a day and do some side-by-side tests, but neither ShareGrid nor my local rental house had any quality RF lenses to rent me, which is one of the big reasons why I don't use RF lenses. They're still not the norm when it comes to video. I very frequently use my C100 Mark II as a B cam to the C70, and when I'm shooting with other people, I'm most often paired with C200s, C300s, or occasionally other C70s. So it really makes sense to use the same lens system for all the different cameras on the shoot. And even more important to me is saving tons and tons of money. I mean, RF lenses cost something like double what their EF counterparts cost. And to make it even worse, there's like no third-party RF lenses. I'm a huge fan of these Sigmas, and in the end, as someone who makes a living off of creating videos, it doesn't make me more money to have RF lenses than it does to have Sigma EF lenses. I can guarantee you a client has never asked me before, what mount does your lens take? They care about how the video looks in the end, and high quality third-party EF lenses are gonna be the best bang for your buck in my opinion. There is something to be said about how sharp those new RF Canon lenses are, especially when wide open. But as far as I understand it, once you get to like f4, they pretty much even out with the Canon versions. And that's the long answer to why I don't use RF lenses in my tests on my channel, is because I don't own any. All of these comparisons I do are kind of selfishly for my own benefit. They're me figuring out the best way to use my gear. And I'm glad that some people find use out of it, but I'm not really doing these tests so other people can make better buying decisions. I'm kind of doing them so I can create better videos for my clients and for myself. And hopefully that also leads to other people learning how to use the gear they have to create better videos for their clients and themselves. Number 2, how bad is the LCD? So my first 6 months with this camera, I had 0 complaints. I heard people say it felt kind of cheap compared to other cameras, and I guess I kind of agreed if I really thought about it, but it didn't give me any trouble. I was just thrilled with how nice the image on the LCD looked and how easy it was to use when exposing, thanks to all those amazing built-in tools. When shooting this video about the C70 on music videos, during the sit-down interview portion in my friend Mike's apartment, we put the C70 on a cheap, tiny tripod that was very much not rated to hold the weight of this camera.
Shit.
I've seen other people complain about
God
this.
damn. I think that makes you a real YouTuber now. Don't they all break their cameras?
Oh. I'm sweating. Are you sweating? So I sent it to Canon, and I told them it was making a clicking sound. I never volunteered the information as to exactly how it got to the current state. It was only $15 to ship, but it would have been $200 almost to insure it. So I didn't insure it. In a week and a half, 2 weeks time, they fixed it and sent it back to me. Although it no longer shakes around, it is very slanted, and I should probably call them and see if maybe they can fix it again. Quick update, I called Canon. I have 6 months from the initial repair to fix any issues in a second follow-up repair. I'll let you know in a future video if things got ironed out. Number 3, best C70 cards. I have these 3, and I'm not savvy enough to really tell you the minute differences between them. I've just kind of been buying whatever's on sale, and they've all worked great for me. Do you still get autofocus with these Sigma prime lenses and the speed booster? Quick answer, yes. Long answer, let's do some tests. So first I set my autofocus to face priority because I wasn't positive if these book covers would register as faces. Let's start with the 0.71 adapter. And I can easily tap to rack from Clinton to Bush, but when I tried to rack to Obama, there were some issues. I'm not sure if it's because the cover was black and white, and I also ran into trouble racking to Obama when I was attempting to tap too close to the border of the frame, which is outside of the 80% range that the adapter lets you autofocus in. However, when I switched from the speed booster adapter to the regular old pass-through adapter, I ran into something similar. It had a little bit more trouble with the Obama black and white image, and when he was too close to the borders, I got that little error box that's telling me it can't focus on anything there. So even with the standard adapter, you don't have 100% coverage to tap to focus. So based off this one small unscientific test and my real world experience, I'd say it's pretty much a draw. And for number 5, instead of answering a question, I'm actually going to address the most common corrections I get from viewers on my mistakes. First, I misused the term depth of field. On a couple of videos, I said more depth of field when I meant shallower depth of field, More depth of field means that more things are in focus. Thank you for pointing that out. I can't promise it won't happen again, but I'll try. I don't understand how the speed booster conversions work. This one is a bit complicated. So the most common comment in that Sigma Prime video I posted was all about the conversions and how I was doing them wrong. So with the 0.71 speed booster, which takes the Super 35 sensor of the C70 and makes it full frame, I was saying that a prime lens like a 24mm now becomes a 17mm. And people rightly pointed out that these are full frame lenses. So if you were to put that full frame lens on, say, an R5, it would be 24. And putting it on the Canon with the adapter doesn't magically make it wider, it makes it 24. That is true. Everyone that said that, you are right. However, the reason why I'm referring to 24 as 17 or 50 as 36 when speed boosting is because I'm not using full frame as my standard. I'm using Super 35 as my standard to refer to all of my lens focal lengths. Why am I doing this? Well, that's what Canon does. If you look at the LCD, the body will register a 24mm lens as a 17. But I think the reason why Canon uses Super 35 as their standard, and the reason why I continue to do this as well, is because I'm using a mixture of full frame and Super 35 lenses in my kit. That's one of the great things about this camera is I can use those crop sensor lenses or I can speed boost to my full frame lenses. And if I was to use a full frame standard when referring to all of my focal lengths, I would have to reverse calculate all of my Super 35 lenses. Like my Sigma 18-35 would become a 25 to 49mm. So if someone was to come from a full frame R5 or a 5D Mark IV or something, and they're coming to this camera, I'm sure they are very used to what full frame lenses look like. And it's probably much easier for them to refer to those lenses as the millimeter that they're used to on a full frame standard. However, I'm coming from a C100 Mark II crop sensor camera, so I really understand focal lengths compared to other Super 35 sensors. So I hope that cleared up some confusion. If there's something I misunderstood there, let me know in the comments. I'm all ears. And the other thing that people pointed out about this 0.71 adapter in the comments that I didn't know was that the extra stop of light you get actually doesn't give you more bokeh, it just gives you more light. In my video comparing primes to zooms, I was falsely operating under the assumption that my prime lenses were extra creamy compared to my old zooms because I was able to speed boost them. That is not true. The depth of field differences are solely due to the speed of the lens, and the 0.71 adapter did not play a role. Thank you CVP for making fantastic explainer videos. If anyone is confused about this like I was, I strongly recommend their channel.